Fighting for freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. The Patrick Riggins Show. Call in now at 865-243-8255. That's 243-TALK. And now your host, Patrick Riggins.
Welcome back to the Patrick Riggins Show. Last segment here of a quick hour, 2 to 3. Our new time. We'll be at this time every week now until we switch it again.
Until we get bored and go with another time.
Yeah, until I move it around. I start every segment and my voice sounds great. Well, not great, but better. But then by the end of the segment, it's just going downhill again. But you just have 15 more minutes of it. Well, not even that, 10 minutes maybe. So, anyway, this last segment, I want to talk a little bit about USAid, which is an agency for the U.S. government. Russia has kicked USAid out of their country, accusing it of trying to covertly influence the country's politics and elections. The agency has until October 1st to cease all operations within Russia. The Russian Foreign Ministry said the decision to shut down USAid was taken primarily because the agency's work does not always correspond to its stated goals. Good for the Russians. They are starting to figure out what it seems our citizens have been blind to for many, many, many years. You may be wondering what we were doing there in the first place. According to the website, USAID's website, the agency helps fund a number of pro-democracy and human rights groups within the country. You can read the pro-democracy to mean anti-Russian government. Now, Vladimir Putin has accused the U.S. State Department of orchestrating the mass protests that have swept Moscow since he announced his intention to run for the presidency again. An official with the Obama administration vowed that the U.S. would find ways to continue to fund these groups despite the agency's expulsion. Lilia Shitsova, a senior researcher with Moscow Carnegie Center, said, for 12 years of his reign, Putin has been rhetorically expressing his disapproval of the democracy promotion conducted in Russia by various Western and U.S. foundations. Now, in the new conditions of political turbulence at home, he is trying to close the country by finally adopting his long-nursed doctrine of absolute and complete political sovereignty with the key motto, don't meddle. So, what is wrong with that? Russia wants us to mind our own business. That is something we've been preaching on this show since day one. First deputy of the International Relations Committee in the Russian parliament's lower house said the decision probably had little to do with the U.S. elections and must have been based on some new information that might have overfilled the Kremlin's cup of patience. He said any country will hardly tolerate foreign meddling in its internal political affairs, with various American foundations sponsoring projects which tried to assert that kind of influence in Russia. You can say that it is often hard to draw a distinct line between actions to promote democracy and designs at regime change. So here we are again, trying to tell other countries what to do, and if they won't do it, try to destabilize them. And this isn't some little banana republic. This is Russia, a country that has a nuclear arsenal. Yet we continue to rattle the cages of these other countries, almost daring them to do something. Let's face it, we have become the world's bully. We go into other countries, establish and or prop up leaders which the population may or may not like, and if we have to, drop a few bombs here and there, or send some drones in to take out so-called opposition leaders, frequently labeled as terrorists, so the American public will swallow the bitter pill of murdering other humans without so much as a trial. All of this for the supposed good of the oppressed in that country. Meanwhile, our government continues to oppress its own citizens by stripping them of their rights. Hello, FISA court, the NDAA, the TSA, and these various other alphabet agencies. we either bribe or intimidate other countries into falling in line, or else we'll withhold money and military assistance, which keeps the leaders in power. And the leaders don't want to lose power, so they'll gladly allow the U.S. to come into their country and set up shop. So off we go again, spending more money and infuriating more people by having bases in their country and fueling the oppression of that country's population by our puppet leaders. The question is, would we tolerate this in our own country? Would we allow another country to build a base on our land, fly its planes in and out of our airspace, take away our vote, and tell us who our leaders are going to be? Would we tolerate any of that? Of course, we wouldn't allow that. Then why do we do the very thing we find so abhorrent? Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi, who is coming to this country, I believe he's coming today for a meeting with the United Nations General Assembly, he gave an interview to the New York Times, and in it he stated, "If you want to judge the performance of the Egyptian people by the standards of German or Chinese or American culture, then there is no room for judgment. When the Egyptians decide something probably is not appropriate for the U.S. When the Americans decide something, this, of course, is not appropriate for Egypt." Exactly right. He also said in the interview, successive American administrations essentially purchased with American taxpayer money the dislike, if not the hatred, of the peoples of the region by backing dictatorial governments over popular opposition. Arabs and Americans have a shared objective, each to live free in their own land, according to their customs and values, in a free and democratic fashion. He also noted that he hoped for a harmonious and peaceful coexistence between us and Egypt. And this is exactly what we preach as a country, yet do not follow. It remains to be seen if Mr. Morsi will follow his own admonitions as the leader of Egypt. I sincerely hope he does, but I have seen what power does to people. It surreptitiously corrupts those who are not on guard and grounded in good principles. But he did have some really good words to say, and our country's leaders would do well to listen to him. We're up on the end of the hour of the Patrick Riggins Show here. Our new time, 2 to 3. I like this time. Do you like this time, Tori? It's pretty nice.
Well, I was here anyway.
Yeah, you're here anyway.
I like having.
So who cares what you got to say?
I think the show's definitely better at this time.
All right. If you want more information about the show, you can go to facebook.com/Patrick Riggins Show. That's RIGGINS show. If you can understand that through my hoarseness. Be sure and hit that like button also on Facebook so you'll be kept updated on everything we post throughout the week. Also, we're on Twitter. You can get that with a little @ Patrick Riggins. And if you miss anything on the show, want to hear something again, or sit around and laugh at my voice, you can go to youtube.com/Patrick Riggins Show. youtube.com/Patrick Riggins Show. If you want to reach us by good old-fashioned email, our address is, again, patrickrigginshow@gmail.com. patrickrigginshow@gmail.com. If you want to reach us by U.S. mail, you can also just send something to the station here on Kingston Pike. Join me next Sunday afternoon where once again we'll talk about freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. We'll be at our new time, 2 p.m., and I won't be hoarse, hopefully. This is Patrick Riggins. We'll see you next Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m. Make a note of it. Have a great week.
Join us again next week for a solid dose of truth on the Patrick Riggins Show. Every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. Be there.